This episode is proudly sponsored by Ramset, manufacturer and supplier to the Australian construction industry for over 70 years. Started in Australia, still in Australia, staying in Australia.
Welcome to another episode of the Built Different podcast, the podcast for tradies that are built different. Brought to you by HIA. This is the show where you hear about what it takes to make it in Australia's building and construction industry. I'm your corporate host, Ryan.
And I'm your co-host, Simon, who's also a clueless apprentice.
And today's episode is all about running and scaling a business. Simon, I think it's safe to say that most apprentices dream to work for themselves at some point in their lives.
Yes.
And many don't figure out what the skills and tools that they need to actually make that a reality until well after they're into the thick of it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And as a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed apprentice who doesn't really know what's ahead of them, I think it's a really good thing that, we have these conversations and talk to people who have been down that route and help prepare us for what's actually ahead of us.
Yep. So today, joining us on the podcast is Oliver Saunders from Saunders Electrical Group. He has been running a successful local electrical business for nearly 6 years now. So Oliver, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Simon, Ryan, thanks for having me. Looking forward to today's show.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Thanks for making the trek down.
Before we get into it, we like to kick things off on the podcast with a little bit of a fun game. And today we're going to be matching celebrities to trades.
That's good. What do we got?
Specifically, what type of trade do you think these celebs would be? We've got Adam Sandler.
Oh, Adam Sandler. Are we talking like early days Adam Sandler? Or are we talking like
golden days Adam Sandler?
All right, golden days. I reckon Adam Sandler would be a good plasterer. I reckon I could see him coming in, like cracking a few jokes as he's just like slapping plaster on the walls, like nothing like, overly complicated, but just makes it look like an absolute art form, and having a good time while he's doing it.
Yeah, 100%. So what about Daniel Ricciardo?
Oh, hang on. Does he have a broken hand or not? Is he?
No. Peak Daniel Ricciardo. Okay. What's he doing?
I reckon Ricciardo would be a good Sparky. I could see him coming onto site, being like, well polished, like he's calling the shots up there, and we all know that in the hierarchy of trades on site, Sparky is like up the top. It's pretty high. So.
You reckon he could be part of your team?
Maybe. You got brains, yeah.
And then last one, what about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? What's he doing?
Ooh, look, he'd have to be a landscaper. He'd be pretty good at moving some of the moving a wheelbarrow. I was hoping you weren't going to make that fun. I think he'd
left
be
it open.
Pretty good throwing a wheelbarrow around. And you got to put that muscle to good work.
Yeah.
Unless like you could use him and you wouldn't need a crane if he was on site.
Yep.
How'd it go?
I reckon we've matched him up pretty good. What do you reckon, Ollie?
Yeah, probably what I would have said.
Who would you employ out of those three?
The Rock.
Yeah, good.
Johnson, yeah.
Get some brawn in there. Yeah. All right. So the one question that we love to ask all our guests is Smoko. What's your favourite Smoko snack? What's the go-to?
I've been on a bit of a health kick lately, so probably some fruit, apple or banana.
Yep.
Yeah?
Keep it healthy.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the way to go.
And if you're relapsing or in the glory days, what would be?
Roll.
Yeah, there it is.
There's no thinking about it either. Just that's it.
Too convenient.
Yeah, love it. So tell us about your journey. How did you start out in sort of the residential building industry? I mean, as an electrician.
Well, I finished school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And actually my next door neighbour, I was living at home with mum and dad, and our next door neighbour was a Sparky. He had a business and he had about 2 employees, but it looked like he was doing pretty well.
Yep.
So dad said, why don't you go have a chat with him?
Yep.
His name was Barry. So I went out to chat to Barry, and he wasn't putting any apprentices on, but had a good chat to him and sort of learned a bit more about, the electrical industry and what was possible. I mean, he had an awesome big house, like drove nice cars and stuff. I'll give this a crack.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to convince a 16-year-old.
No, exactly. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't get the marks to go to university or whatever anyway. So I was like, I'll give this a crack. It looks pretty good. That's how I got into the electrical industry. Just went down to the local electrical wholesalers in Castle Hill and put my name and number down there. They let me put it on the desk there, and electrical wholesalers, Sparky's coming in and out all day, every day.
Oh, right.
And
that's actually not a bad idea.
So eventually
whose
someone
idea
gave
was
me a
that
call.
one?
That was Barry's.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So he said
So,
that. Yeah,
he
great.
helped me out. So, yeah, went down there, did that, and got a couple of phone calls and went for an interview. And, yeah, a few weeks later, I had a job. So that's how I started, yeah.
Awesome. Rest is history.
Yeah, that's it.
So then you got into the industry like that. What were you like as an apprentice?
I worked hard.
Yeah.
I grew up playing rugby league, rugby union.
Yep.
So I've always sort of enjoyed hard work, and it's like, I don't know if you play sport or whatever, but team sports, especially contact sports, you got to work hard to be any good at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just brought that to work kind of thing.
Yep.
It wasn't till later on in my apprenticeship, I guess, I sort of thought about maybe starting my own business one day.
Yep.
But yeah, I had a crack. I was there to learn the electrical industry, and
Yep.
I was lucky where I was working. There's sort of 4 or 5 other apprentices. It wasn't a massive company. There was about 15 guys working there at the time.
Yep.
A couple of other young blokes sort of similar to my age, first, second, third year apprentices. So I was just enjoying learning along with them, and just having a crack on the construction site.
All young blokes?
Yeah, pretty young. Most of us were young. There was sort of a few older ones. I mean, back then I was 18, whatever.
Yep.
But some of the tradies, I think the oldest one may have been about late 30s, 40.
Yep.
Something like
nice.
that. Oh, there was one old bloke who was about 50.
Yeah, okay. And so you mentioned that, it wasn't until later on in your apprenticeship that you decided that you did want to go into business for yourself. At what point did that happen, do you think? Like 3rd, 4th year? What was the
It
catalyst
wasn't a
for that?
decision that, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to do it next year or anything.
You just started thinking about it.
Yeah, I just sort of started thinking about it. I played a lot of footy when I was younger. And I wanted to be a professional football player.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the goal, isn't it? For
yeah.
a lot of kids, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's sort of like with the NRL or whatever, that wasn't going to eventuate.
Yep.
So I thought I'll give this a crack, and I sort of don't want to just be an apprentice and then employee, whatever, just on the tools. Like I want to have a good crack and
Yep.
saw
Yeah,
Barry
great.
up the road, see him all the time. So
Yeah.
it's like I want to do something like that. So that was sort of the goal further on down the track.
Yep.
Yeah, just towards the end of my apprenticeship, I started thinking about that.
Yeah, okay. And so with you worked for Barry?
I didn't work for him. No.
Oh, okay. He was just your inspiration. Or,
He was the guy who first got me into the industry,
Yep.
I guess, just having a chat to him when I was sort of just finishing up at school.
Yep. And so how many people did you work for before you actually took the plunge into your own business?
3.
Yeah, okay.
So I did my apprenticeship with a company in Castle Hill, doing townhouses, like construction work, townhouses,
Yep.
blocks of apartments, a little bit of commercial work.
Yep.
After that, what do I do after that? Got my electrical license.
Yep.
Then went and got a job with a sort of bigger commercial company. And they had like this was 2011, 2012. They had that was when the solar boom was starting.
Oh, yeah.
So I jumped on that and putting solar panels on houses.
Yep.
For about a year and a half.
Was he subbing that out? Like, he was
No,
a subbie?
this was like a big electrical company.
Yeah, okay.
Like a tier 1 electrical company. So they had like this big government contract and putting solar panels on everyone's houses. So I was smashing that out. Did that for about a year and a half. I was still playing. I transitioned from like rugby league, started playing rugby union. Got an opportunity to go play overseas professionally for a year.
Yep.
Oh, whereabouts?
Over in Japan.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was
nice.
pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah,
So the dream was a reality for a little while.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I got 2 brothers, they're actually Sparkies as well.
Yep.
They both played over there for a number of years too. So
Were you guys
it was
over there
pretty cool.
together?
Yeah, one of my brothers, Matt, we were over there. I was only there for a year. He was there for about 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Our other brother Benny, he's my youngest brother.
Yep.
He's still there now. He's been there for over 10 years now.
Yep.
But
That must have been a bit of fun.
yeah,
That's
good
good.
fun. Yeah, it's awesome over there. Like really, really nice country.
Yeah, wow.
But
So are your brothers part of the Saunders Electrical Group as well?
as casuals, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they help out. When Benny's still overseas.
Yep.
So yeah, when he's back in the off season, he gives us a hand.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you spoke a little bit about playing footy. You have coaches in direction there. Did you have any coaches or mentors to help you through your actual career of being a Sparky and going out onto your own and running your own business?
Yeah. I have a business coach, or I had a business coach for a couple of years. I learnt heaps from him. When I first started my business, like I'm Sparky, so like I got no business acumen, no business
Yep.
sense at all. So I sort of jumped in the deep end. Actually, I should say before I started, I went out on my own. I did get a job working for an automatic doors company, and I was on site talking to building managers and centre managers and facility, sort of people and stuff like that. We're doing maintenance and installation of automatic sliding doors and boom gates on commercial buildings.
Yep.
And retail, like shopping centres and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
you get to see the commercial side of things.
Yeah, that was really good for me because I was able to learn some skills around communication and quoting and sales and that sort of thing.
Yep.
And then after a couple of years working there, I was like, okay, like I've always wanted to start my own business.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got a couple of these skills now. Like now's the time to have a crack at it.
Yep.
So that's when I sort of made the decision. After I came back from overseas, I got that job and then learned those skills.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
nice.
it's a really natural transition towards that. You just kind of went, yep, I'm ready. I've got it. I've got the skills to get started.
Yep.
Time to give it a crack.
Yeah, that's it. And it was that point. Then I sort of jumped ship and
Yeah,
started
nice.
on my own.
And then how did you go about engaging that business coach?
So like I said, jumped in on my own. After about 2 years, I was like really under the pump. Like I'm sure anyone who's started their own
Hard
business,
slog?
yeah, especially if
Yeah.
you're like a tradie and you start out on your own, you'll always start like by yourself pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
As a sole trader, or if you start it as a company, you'll be the only employee. You're doing the quoting, invoicing, you're crawling through the roof, you're building this, you're building that.
Yep.
You're doing absolutely everything.
Phones going 24/7 as
Exactly.
well.
You got to stop, answer phone calls. So it's you just get
A lot of late nights.
yeah,
and-
late nights, but you like get burnout.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So after about 2 years of that, and I've got a young family as well. I got like 4 kids and my
Yep.
wife as well.
Yep.
So back then that was 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You just had one kid then. I wasn't getting an opportunity to spend time with them in the evenings and weekends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't the reason I started a business. Like
Yes.
you start a business to I guess give you options around your time, and that's one reason. Obviously, you want to build something pretty cool.
Yeah.
And give back to the community and help people out with your services as well. But I was like, oh, this isn't how it's supposed to be, Like, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And that's when I was sort of after about 2 years or so, I was just working, 10-hour, 11-hour days, and go home, see the wife and kid for an hour, and on the computer
Get
for
back on
4
the
hours.
computer, get
at
back to
night.
all those quotes.
Yeah,
and,
you just
paperwork.
get burnt out, and it just wasn't the right sort of way to do it. And that's when I reached out and got some help.
It's about that balance, isn't it? Like trying to work out how you can manage everything going on versus your home work balance, but then managing your own time to make sure that you're putting energy and effort towards the things that matter and the things that are going to return profit, return better outcomes for your business, and make you happy at the end of the day to avoid burnout. So how did you go about investing that time for you and avoiding burnout on the way through?
Yeah, so one of the first things I learned from my business coach was how to manage my time a lot better. It's just so hard when you're working on your own, doing everything yourself. Everything's sort of, you got 100 million things you got to get done.
Yeah.
You really got to work out a way to be time efficient. So what I was taught is like a method called time blocking.
Yep.
So I've got like a Google calendar, and I just time block, half an hour, 15 minutes, an hour and a half, whatever it is, of different things or tasks I need to do throughout the day.
Yep.
When you do that, you just sort of focus solely without distractions on
That's
that
a
one.
non-negotiable. Like that
That's it,
time,
yeah.
Lock
So
it
that-
in, make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're working by yourself, you're on your tools all day. You really got to focus on working on the tools. But when you're not on the tools, you sort of got to. Well, I was taught from him, carve out a couple of hours in the afternoon, finish work a bit earlier on the tools,
Yep.
and spend a couple of hours working on the business.
Yep.
To help grow it and set up systems and processes to help the business
Yeah.
run more by itself rather than relying solely on you.
Yep.
Once you're able to do that, it frees up heaps more of your time.
Yeah. I guess you forget, it's a realization that, it's not all just work on the tools. Like you've got to allocate the time to all those, the business-oriented tasks at the end of the day. So even though you're knocking off the tools early, you're still working, and, you've got to get a handle on that so that you aren't burning it into, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, exactly. The thing with being a tradie and starting your own business, if you don't know anything about business, like for me, being a Sparky is a completely different skill set to being a business owner.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of
Yeah.
people, heaps of people who want to go and start a business, they really get unstuck there.
Yep. And it's not
Yeah,
until
you
you're
just-
into the thick of it
That's
that you
right,
actually
yeah.
realise.
I mean,
Because you can be a great Sparky, but a horrible manager, or
Failing
you've got
business.
you got no
Yeah.
experience there, and you have to pick that up and run with it.
Exactly. Like the electrical apprenticeship's 4 years. You spend 4 years learning how to be a Sparky.
Yeah.
But then you want to go and start a business where you got like even more responsibilities, and you're talking about a lot more money, a lot more responsibility, a lot more risk.
Yep.
If you're not investing at least 4 years, into learning business,
Yep.
when you spend that time to learn to be a Sparky, it's a completely different ballgame
Yeah.
by having a business.
And are you blocking out time for family and personal time as well within that calendar?
Yeah. So one of the big things I learned, in the last it's taken me maybe 4 years, 5 years to learn it. Everyone talks about work-life balance.
Yeah.
But what I've learned, what you need is work-life integration.
Yep.
So is a difference because, the first sort of 4 or 5 years I had my business, I was trying to balance work, family time and leisure time and that sort of thing. And you're constantly getting pulled this way and that way, and you're trying to make a balance, and it just stuffs your head up.
Yeah.
You feel guilty all the time. But what I've realised is work-life integration is a different thing. So for me, during the week, I accept this, during the week, maybe 80% of my time I'm, working on the business, working in the business. And the other 20% of my time, I'm with family or doing whatever else.
Yep. Helping the house.
Yeah, but then, if we go on holidays or, it's a weekend or whatever, 80% of that time I'll be, doing what I want or with the family and kids.
Yep.
And the other 20% of the time I'm working.
Yep.
We just got back from New Zealand a couple of weeks ago. We were there for a week.
Yep.
And, obviously 80% of that time was, with the family.
Yep.
Yeah,
A
great.
couple of hours like every night, pretty much. I was doing a bit on the computer.
You just have to do. You have to be there to
yeah.
keep a few things ticking over. Because if
Exactly.
you're not doing it, no one
And
is.
once you realise that and accept it, like these percentages don't have to be 80-20.
Yeah.
If stuff happens, those percentages change.
Yep.
And if you're accepting of that, then that's fine. Like it's
Yeah.
you don't feel guilty about sort of what you're doing, whether
Yeah.
or not you're spending time with family or working.
Yeah.
Ollie, I'd just like to go back to that point you said before about burnout, and what was your life like at that time where you're close to burnout, you're stressed, and was there ever a point where you were like, do I throw in the towel, or do I do something different, or do I actually push through and make this happen? Like, what was going on in your life at that time?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I was working 10, 11 hours a day, and 4 or 5 hours on the computer at night time, and I was just burnt out. It's pretty hard, and I thought, like, one of the reasons I left the company I was working at was I was willing to put in the hours and do the overtime. We used to get paid a commission on upselling and stuff like that, but they got to a point where my manager was like, "You're doing too much overtime, costing the company too much money." So you got to like tone it down a bit. I'm like, but I'm working so hard. Like I'm willing to put the hours in. I've got a young family at home. I'm willing to work hard to earn more.
Yep.
And I was like, nah, like I've got to go and
If you can't get
start my
ahead
own
there,
thing.
then something has to change. Something has to
exactly,
give.
yeah.
Yep.
That just sounds like such an important lesson that your coach was able to give you to get to where you are now, to have a successful business, to manage your personal life, to integrate it with your work and everything like that. It's a great tool to see you kind of come through the other side and not just throw in the towel and hit the wall and be like, nah, this is it, I'm done.
Yeah, like anything you try and do, if you're trying to build a business or do anything great, like it's not easy. That's why so many people fail at it.
Yeah.
You sort of get to a point where, and everyone does when you're trying to build something, like this is hard.
Yep.
I can't remember who said it, but I heard a quote or saying the other day, when you get into like a really hard point and you're sort of questioning what you're doing, like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Should I just throw the towel in or keep going? Everyone gets to that point.
Yeah.
But the reason, that's why so many people fail, because they just give up at that point. Whereas if you can just keep pushing through, just get through it, then they're the people who become successful and keep going.
And what was, on that point, sorry, what motivated you to push through? Like, where do you get that motivation from?
Well, like I said, I've got a young family, and I guess, I don't know, I just want to have a crack, and because I know 4 little kids, they're going to be looking up at me and being like, oh, what am I going to say to them if they're asking me, what should I do here, or this is hard? Like, I don't want to say I'll just quit. Like, I don't want to be someone
Set a
who
good
just
example
quits.
for them.
Yeah, exactly. I use them as, I guess, my why.
Yep.
And I just want to be a good example to them.
Yep.
And show other people and them especially, what can be done.
That's awesome.
So with the business coach side of things, I mean, you were approaching burnout. How did you know that it was a business coach? Did you even know what a business coach was at that time? Like, how did you know that that's the support that you needed? Like, how did you even find that? What was the process there?
I've always sort of, I guess, tried to learn from more successful people. And it was the same with business. Like, I didn't know anything about business.
Yep.
So I thought, I need to learn about business. Like, who would I go to?
Yep.
Like, on social media and stuff, I follow heaps of different entrepreneurs and successful business owners and stuff like that. And I guess pretty much all of them had mentors or business coaches along the way.
Yep.
So that's how I sort of thought, what's a business coach that I need?
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just spoke about entrepreneurs that you follow. I mean, you've obviously got an entrepreneurial streak inside of you. What have you always been entrepreneurial, or did you need some help when it came to getting into that business side of things? Like,
no, I haven't always been entrepreneurial.
Yep.
It was probably after I started the business.
Yep.
So I started the business, and
I mean, that in itself is entrepreneurial, right? But
it is. Yeah, business owner, like, I guess entrepreneurial is, you try new things. You not just one business. You want to try and build and sell and scale and all sorts of different things.
Yep.
Building businesses, and being able to exit and stuff as well. It's a totally different ball game to
being on the tools, day to day.
It's so different.
Yep.
And I just found that I really enjoyed like working on my business and learning how to build a business and providing jobs to others and stuff. I think delegation is really important in business.
Yep.
You can't do everything on your own. So anything that you, I guess, don't need to do, or it's like a low value task within the business.
Yep.
You can outsource that or hire someone else to do that.
Yeah.
And it just frees up more of your time
Yep.
to work on more important things in the business to help it grow and scale.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what advice would you give someone who's in that same situation looking to take the plunge?
Firstly, it's going to be like 10 times harder than what you reckon it's going to be. But
strap yourself in.
Yeah, strap yourself in. It's not easy.
Well, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
Exactly, yeah. And there'd be heaps of, I don't know what the rate is of failure, but it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Especially in the first 5 or 10 years. But if you're prepared and have a growth mindset as well, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people who I guess have done what you want to do and they're already successful and built businesses, if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
If you can get in rooms around them and surround yourself, and the easiest way to do it's on social media, just start following people that are where you want to be.
Yep.
And then I guess it just, naturally you sort of see all these people doing it and you're around them.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier for you to just accept that I can do it as well.
Yeah. The big thing for me has always been, work out where you want to go and then work backwards. What are the steps you actually need to put in place to get there? Do I need a qualification to be able to do X, Y, or Z? And what do I need to do that? And, can I, am I willing to put in the work to get that, to make that step, to make that dream happen? Or, do I need to pivot somewhere else? So having that understanding of, where you need to go and how to get there, as well as surrounding yourself with those people, that's so valuable and can help so much with that mindset and pushing through that point where, you might be teetering on the edge going, can I do this or can I push through?
Yep.
Yeah.
And surrounding yourself with people that are going to lift you up instead of, set you into a negative mindset, having that growth mindset and people around you with that similar sort of outlook just will help you to push through those hard times, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to fail at things. That's just a given.
Yep.
If you've got a growth mindset, then they'll help you look for other ways to overcome it, and that's how you move forward and grow.
Yeah.
Ollie, is there anything that you wish you had have started earlier?
Probably my business.
Your own business?
Like taking the plunge
my own business, earlier. But when I look back in hindsight, I enjoyed playing footy overseas.
Yep.
Enjoyed, it's important, I think, to learn the skills of an electrician. That's what my business is,
Yep.
an electrical business. I need to be sort of all over that.
Yep.
So you need to sort of learn those skills. Business, it's one of those things you can learn as much as you want about business before you jump ship and start.
You can actually start doing it, right?
It's when your money's there on the line and you've got to make stuff happen, it's a totally different way of learning.
Yep.
You're not going to, you can learn, in university. I'm not saying don't go to uni and learn business or anything like that, but there's only so much you can learn from reading a book or listening to people. It's only until you start actioning it. That's when you find the real learnings and the real growth.
Well, once you've got skin in the game, right? I mean, you said money on the line. It's got to ignite a flame in you that you'll do anything to just make it work.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's also, when it comes to business, there's so many different opinions on the best way to do things. So being able to get your hands dirty and figure it out yourself because because you've got that skin in the game that you will find a way to make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're just about out of time for the episode today. But Ollie, what's next for you, mate? What projects you got coming up?
Yeah, like I said, we work in residential. We've got a few new builds and renovations happening or kicking off, between now and the end of the year.
Yep.
We do like domestic maintenance work as well.
Yep.
So yeah, with Saunders Electrical Group, we've got those projects keeping us busy.
Yep.
And yeah, just trying to grow the business, get a couple more builders on board, and I guess the next step for me is maybe hiring an operations manager as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Just to eventually, that's the goal, to
free up a bit
next
more
step.
of your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome.
That's good.
And where can our listeners find you online?
Instagram.
What's your handle?
Oliver J. Saunders.
Yep.
I've got Saunders Electrical Group as well on Instagram, the business page, and Facebook. I actually lost access to my Facebook page, my business Facebook page, a couple of months ago, so I had to start a new one like last week.
Damn hackers!
Yeah, no, Facebook just I don't know what happened. I lost admin access. So
No, sort it out, Zuckerberg.
I'm trying to get it back, but it's not happening. So I just opened up a new Facebook page.
It's a pain in the backside.
Saunders Electrical Group Pty Ltd.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
That's the new
Sometimes
one.
it's not a bad thing to do, like cut and dry and start again, but maybe not as helpful when you're trying to get your own business like really humming along, right?
Yeah, it's a pain,
fun
but
times.
It is what it is. Another problem. And when you have a business, you just put out fires.
That's it.
That's what it is.
Yep.
All right. Well, look, make sure that you subscribe to the show, and so that you don't miss an episode. Head over to our Built Different Instagram page, or visit our website at builtdifferentaustralia.com.au to catch up or contribute.
Ollie, thanks very much for coming in, mate. I had a
No worries,
blast
guys.
chatting to you.
Yeah, it was good
Yeah,
fun. I
thanks for
enjoyed
coming in. Really enjoyed it.
Look, I've learned quite a lot about what it takes to run and scale a business, so that's been really insightful. So I think you've even given me a few pointers and inspired me to get going, and I think that's a great little thing that I'll implement is actually blocking out time in a calendar to get things done, because my time management skills are appalling. So thanks for that.
Oh, good. I was the same, mate. Once you learn how to do it, it's really beneficial.
Yeah.
It's great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks
Thanks
again.
for having me.
So that's been another episode of the Built Different podcast, the podcast for tradies that are
Built different.
This episode was brought to you by Ramset. Simon, you as an apprentice know just how tough it can be as an apprentice on a construction site.
Mate, I certainly do.
And that's why Ramset are dedicated to supporting the next generation with the Ramset Apprentice Program.
Right now, Ramsted are giving apprentices all over Australia the opportunity to win $6,000 worth of tools and gear for a limited time. Whether you're a chippy, a sparky, or a plumber, or anything in between, head to www.ramset.com.au/apprentice program 2023 to learn more and enter to win. Get set with Ramset.